This is the last video in the variables section, and I'm just going to cover some best practices for variables. So throughout this challenge section, you've gotten a lot of experience declaring variables, appending them, printing them to the console, creating public and private variables, but there's a few things that you need to know. So I'm going to actually open up, let's say, the pet script just to have as an example. And you don't need to follow along with this. This is just stuff that you should know. So we have a bunch of private variables here, and maybe here I'll make this one public. So we have a mix of them. And let's say that you have a script that's like 1,000 lines deep, and you're way, way deep in the code. It doesn't make sense for us to scroll all the way back up to the top to see if a variable is public or private. No, it doesn't. So there's actually a convention within C# that every private variable that's global like this has an underscore in front of it, right? So if I right click, we can rename this with an underscore in front, underscore pet name. And that way, when I'm deep down in the code and I see pet name, I know immediately that it's private to this script only. Public variables don't have the underscore as well. And then beyond that, let's say that you want a private variable, but you still want to be able to see it and assign it in the inspector, because this private variable right now, we can't see. There's actually an attribute that we can add at the top of it in order to still see and edit a private variable, but it's still private to that script. And that is by adding these square brackets here. And it is an attribute called SerializeField. And it will take the variable below and it will make it visible inside the inspector. So these two things, making sure that you have an underscore if it's private and serializing the field, will help you navigate variables. The other thing that you might see is that private variables don't necessarily have to be declared as private. If you leave the word private off like this variable is by default private. So that's something that you might encounter out in the wild. Cool, so that's actually going to wrap up this section on variables. Great job. If you have any questions, again, please put them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. And then the next set of videos, we'll take a look at if-then logic. Awesome. See you in the next one.